I'm gonna call the meeting to order. I will call roll and I will say that you don't have a quorum. And then you will say a motion to. Well, it's executive, yeah, it's executive meeting. Right, executive meeting, not session.
People are signing it. You can sign in later.
You can sign it later, so make sure you sign it.
Get back to the tables.
That's what we do. Pretty stepped out of the.
Okay.
I'm thinking, there was kids from that. We're not 16, so now we're 6.
Right. We have it. Oh, we have it. Oh,
Very good. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the LOSFA Advisory Board meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Wednesday, September 7th at 10:34. May I have a roll call?
Dr. Cable, present. Ms. Paulino, Ms. Bowman, here, Ms. Gaines, here, Ms. Hoover, here, Mr. Inman, Ms. Lawson, here, Mr. Myers,
Here.
Ms. Miller, here. You do have a quorum.
Wonderful.
Where am I present? Thank you. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
All right, introductions in.
We do have introductions and announcements, and I don't know why they're not up there. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. That's my fault.
You know what they are? Just go ahead and make it.
Okay, so I do have. I don't know all of them. I know that Izzy, if y'all know Izzy, she did get engaged, and so she got engaged, and then, want to talk about Mr. Shelter or.
But we were going to have him on the silence, as many of you know, Mr. Salter was a regular member of our advisory board and did pass away. So definitely the field of education and policy lost a giant and a gentleman. So if we could just have a moment of silence to.
Okay, and the only other one was that, the student worker in scholarships and grants, and I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, graduated from LSU. You wanna tell us that?
Our student intern, Tam Bryant, graduated kinesiology with fellowship. And she has enrolled in the master's program, so she will continue with us as a graduate student intern. And she works specific, more so with the MJ Foster Prompt Program, helping out the supervisor who runs that program.
Thank you. Congratulations. Right, approval of the minutes and then sent off. Move it to reviews, do accept the motion.
I so agree.
And I'll second. Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Any nays? Carry. Public comment?
Brian, have you received any public comment at this time?
No, we have not.
Program updates. First one, savings. Louisiana savings program update.
I will give it. She can't be here today because she is at the National Association of State Treasurers Conference. So this is a first for her, so it's very good that she's able to attend that national conference. And we also, I think, have a forum with cash receipts attending that as well, because as the programs expand and as we are rapidly approaching 2 billion with the dollars. It's very important that cash receipts will expand as well, and then there are expansions to the programs that we feel like will cause increased accounts. So as you can see, we're at 1.8 billion with the B. And the staff is doing well. One of the things that we are considering when the budget allows is that the volume of calls with the volume of programs and the increase in accounts is necessitating that we have some staff dedicated to those start calls. As you can maybe imagine, although we have a call center, right, that covers all of the scholarship programs, if somebody calls you about start, you are really needing to access their account. And that really should be, we feel like, contained within start, any generic questions. So growing pains that we will address as we have budget available.
Right, college access, success, and communications.
See what state was reading at the same time. So yes, now also I'll be covering all 30+ slides, but I'll try to go through as quickly as possible. Sure.
Shane, hang on 1 second. Brian, are you still connected? Because he kicked me off of Zoom.
Yes, I'm still connected.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. So for our agency events and assistance right now, since the start of the fiscal year, we're at 95 total events, 86 of those face-to-face, 9 virtual. Our virtual office hours are at 80, with top retention and Big Boston Promise being the most popular out of those. For our outreach, we attended the GSU oral orientation, distributed information about losses, programs, and services to about students and parents for their attendance. I also attended orientation at Baton Rouge Community College. We had 180 students there. Congress Scott was there and discussed how to set up a work student hub account, share information on programs, particularly our J. Foster program, how to check your work status on the student hub for TOPS and other resources that are students. So Ebony hosted the third and final one of our webinars for, sorry. Oh, yeah, that doesn't make a difference. For our TOPS information webinar series. So this is something that we started maybe 2 years ago, where we started doing the general public webinars. And the response to that has been really, really great. Normally, we would just wait until they were requested or host them specifically for schools or school counselors. We made a decision to start offering these to the general public. Participation has been really, really good. We're also working on other digital resources and videos to make information about TOPS retention so that parents aren't having to go to an actual webinar, they will be able to access this information on our website as well. We hosted our J. Foster Promise student orientations as well. 132 students participated in that. Of the students who completed the exit survey, 81 of those, 132, 57% were first-time attendees, and 100% of those said that they would recommend orientation of students. So we continue to provide a lot of support and resources to our MJ Foster Promise student cohorts. We've seen a lot of success with that, and so we're continuing as we work across SG, as well as our outreach coordinator and our comprehensive advising officers that we've identified as our contact for MJ Foster students, continue to develop and enhance the programs and resources that we offer to those students. For Salesforce case activity, that is a course platform that we use to manage our complex student cases. August is the peak of that as far as TOPS eligibility, Foster application, because that kicks off just a couple months prior to that. And so over the course of the summer, with the system that we have are sort of 3 tiers of service. We shift the workload around a little bit. And so our outreach coordinators take on answering our customer service emails. Our IAOs focus on phone calls, And then our comprehensive advising officers facilitate all virtual office hour sessions. So we buy that labor up. And that has really helped us manage and stay on top of making sure that we're being responsive to students, parents when they call.
Danielle, you want to talk, we've gone from a 48-hour sort of turnaround typical wait for response to within 24 hours. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Never been 48 hours.
So,
I think we've never been 48, we practice under a day.
Well, the practice used to be 24 to 48 hours. And it's not that.
I sent an email yesterday and it was responded to in 4 hours. I know.
Yeah.
But I have to say that.
You sent it to counselors or us, sir?
But no, but before you got here,
Okay.
but we have a really great system in place. Response has been fantastic, and the way that we've structured the positions now, where we have our intake and assistance officers who are focused on taking in those calls and those emails, during most of the year, and environmental labor, with those heavy traffic times or the summer, it's really hard. So right now we are at over 700 cases of solving those complex issues. And that is from November 2023. That's when we launched Salesforce as part of that comprehensive advising and managing those complex issues. And so talked about that already. We have 269 cases that are remaining open. The complex cases as they come in, you know, students have the ability to work with comprehensive advising officers for however long they need part of the college access process, but a lot of cases that come in are issues that can be resolved over, you know, a few days or a couple of weeks or so. Our team does a really good job of getting those issues handled and managing those cases closed. And so since June 1st, our outreach coordinators and IAOs have closed over 1,000 cases. So the IAOs have answered since the start of the fiscal year 8,000 calls between June 1st and August 31st. See, so our Salesforce case activity again. So we really try to be proactive when addressing the issues that we have. So our social media messaging, getting that out there, looking at STS to see what high schools are having issues with transcripts, working with bids here at LOSFA to identify students who are missing their ACT scores or they had lost IDs, and be proactive about that out to them, you know, that these are issues before they compound themselves. So partnerships, our partnership team, Tanya Evans and April Bergens met with LED Fast Start, focused around Foster Promise and Tops Tech. What those do is support LED Fast Start's recruitment training efforts. So we'll be promoting that and to work with on the recruiting division to share resources with students and to continue to build those relationships with Fast Start partner companies. So we're continuously having those conversations with a lot of these partners and how we can align what it is we're doing so that we can create that pipeline of students that we need to connect them or resources that they have. Students. Another partnership, Knock Children's Museum. Nick has worked with to set this up. So Nick and Daniel participated in a 2-day community event where we shared information about college savings, financial literacy, our 529 saving programs. All three of them will particularly start. Our agreement has been finalized in August between LOSFA and Ochsner about ways that we can work together to expand college access and increase awareness of the employment pathways that they have available through Ochsner. So we will be participating in a lot of their outreach events, the events that they have that bring students into Ochsner to explore healthcare pathways. They have asked us to explore as their post-secondary access partner. So sharing information, and then also participating in our student groups, providing mentoring. We're still exploring ways to deepen the partnership that we have. We're very excited about the developments that we have. Youth Force NOLA, we had had a meeting down recently, I need some notes, but I'm sorry, 37 slides, it's throwing me off, and this is one of mine. Yes. All right, so we have with, of course, Noah, so discuss the high school internship programs that we have there. And so we have highlighted, programs that we have available, such as Inequality Promise, Knowing Able, and other outreach initiatives that we have. So looking at ways to share resources that we can coordinate, professional development efforts, and then we can connect internship efforts across agencies. So one of the things that we're looking at doing is building up sort of our database of internship opportunities that we can share with students. So that has been a big part of business and community partnerships that we work on. Just ways that LOSFA can provide resources to support the populations that they serve, but also ways that you can connect students directly with these organizations as well, especially in the career exploration. Hancock Whitney, these are not in the printed out, but that's why these are all fresh to me. Oh no. Same thing, so we're gonna learn together. Okay, so, Nick, who's our outreach coordinator for partnerships with community organizations, he met with Hancock with me. And so to share information with them about our Able accounts. So really, really trying to push information about how Able has seen growth in our accounts that have there. And so we're continuing to try to reach out to financial institutions to share more information about our 5 saving programs. In particular, has really tried to push and focus on increasing the accounts we have with LAA form.
Shane, excuse me for one moment. I just wanted to go ahead and introduce, because he's in here, Mr. Inman. He is our new student member. He was at a internship in Dallas over the summer, so this is the first time he's able to join us. But he is a student at Southern University and the president of the, I'll let you explain.
First off, targets around the building, trying to do it. My name is Sean. I serve roles. Most importantly, I serve as president for the University main campus in Baton. Additionally, I serve as the chief budget chair. So thank you for being here.
And tell us, Mr. Inman, you were interning this. Just a little internship.
Thank you, Shane.
So, okay, so NAST, National Association of State Treasurers. So we had the National Able to Save Day campaign. So there are different campaigns that we have throughout the year that focus on college savings, Able to Save Day. There is a month-long campaign we have as well. So we like to participate in those. So for Able to Save, Able Savings Day, we did a social media campaign for raise awareness about that. Luckily, there is a social media toolkit that's available for Able Savings Day. That's available to us through the National Association of State Treasurers, and we have a partnership with them as well. Especially on the Able front, they share a lot of really great information about this. Okay, Louisiana Jumpstart Coalition, financial education boot camps. Darius participated in that and facilitated one of our general financial aid seminars. So gave updates on federal student aid programs, changes that they've experienced there recently. And then this was given to financial literacy educators. So they have this every August. This year it was at LSU campus, so we participate in that. At NOLA, we had an event, we participated in there as well, a browse session. So Daniel participated in that, a Spanish language browse session. So as the population that this organization serves. So we were able to share information about college access, very funding resources that are available to the LOSFA, as well as sharing information, publications in their language as well. Okay, interview, several members of the LOSFA staff, Ebony, April, Danielle, and Kylie were interviewed by NCAN on our justice impact efforts. And so a lot of the work that we have done in that area, this is very new to what we've done at LOSFA, but and it continues to grow, continue to add more things, learn more things, and are able to share things learned and developed as well with serving this population. So some of the things that were discussed were really the wide knowledge gaps that exist, what resources are available to this population that the population is not aware of, and that a lot of professionals who work with this population are aware of as well. So we talked about what our efforts look like, the resources that we developed, partnerships that we created, and then the team working within the long and corrections, the secondary institutions, the Social Research Institute, VIOLA, different reentry coalitions, and then Cindy, that received a Cindy grant from NCAN and Barrett Institute. So identifying what continued gaps we have, ways that we continue to improve the way that we serve this population, developing resources that we and are constantly looking at ways to work and serve this population. I think right now we're at 65 justice impacts with students that we work directly with. So we had Charnel participate virtually in BSN level orientation meeting for the nursing students at Western State University. Talked about ways that students can engage, academic success strategies, and the value of networking, as well as sharing information about our student network groups that are available to our nursing groups. So we're able to talk to 57 BSN level students that participated in that orientation. Southern University, their school nurse also had orientation as well, and Chelsea was able to participate in that, provided information to the incoming nursing students who were there, shared a lot of our information, our new qualifications, so that they can know what resources and services are available to them through LOSFA, particularly our student network groups that we have available to nursing students. Also at Southern, they had the convocation for College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, and so participated in browse there and also shared information, really pushing our virtual student network groups and our comprehensive advisory services. STEM Pathfinder Summer Camp. So this is part of our efforts with Oxford Health. So Tommy participated in it. They brought in a group of students as part of their summer camp experience where they could immerse and learn about ways that you could work in this field, the opportunities that are available to you through Oxford or other STEM career pathways as well. So we did an interactive presentation. We had games that were there. Kayla does a really good job of customizing content, programs, and a lot of the interactive stuff. So she was able to assist with that. There was a trivia game they had that was focused on financial aid from college and access. Our articulation workshops. So that takes part last part August. And so Haley and Scott presented on behalf of LOSFA, all 6 of them, 3 in South Louisiana and 3 in North Louisiana. And so during those, they're hosted at local secondary institutions, and so all high school counselors and administrators attend those, and LOSFA share information about changes to programs that have legislatively that they need to be made aware of, any updates that we may have to any of our programs, particularly TOPS, and then reminders about any of the events that we have coming up. So we give them a folder of resources, making sure that they have copies of our new publications, access to digital resources as well, and then a swag bag of LOSFA items as well. But they found, I like to give things that are useful.
Yes,
You know, so-
and they were, and I think they did a phenomenal job. For her, ours was her debut, and she did a great job and like answered all the questions, and like some of the counselors who walked away were like, that was very informational. They loved the bags because they put during their presentation. So it was helpful.
And we also pushed our counselor communication newsletter that we send out, and we're able to get 66 new counselors signed up. Okay, oh, also, Haley and Kylie attended, Paris Community College New Student Orientation, gave information about top eligibility, and promise. Also participated in a radio interview. So they did a 60-second interview that aired on ESPN radio. They discussed TOPS and MJ Foster. Junior Match Day. So this is an initiative that promotes early awareness of college access. Part of that was Livingston Collegiate Academy. So through partnership that we have with the Progressive Foundation, our My College advocates, our LOSFA's My College advocates, are able to facilitate this as part of the Rising Seniors application. And they did the college planning workshop and sort of a mini match game show as part of the fly tour. And so we actually have some videos to show you all, just some video highlights to see what happened at Junior Match Day. And so Del Reach participated in 2 events that we had at East Baton Rouge Parish Libraries. We did a TOPS fest, then we did a general financial aids as well. So East Baton Rouge Parish Library has done a really good job reaching out to us to schedule financial literacy and financial aid and college access workshops. Okay, you have all received copies from our main updated predictions for this year. So one of the big changes that we made to the LOSFA brochure, if you open it up, is we really wanted to emphasize the different pathways that students have to them. And so you'll see that emphasized a lot more applications, our website, applications. I think students know that there are multiple pathways for them to obtain the credential that we need to be successful after high school. And so we really wanted to emphasize that. I've updated our all-course TOPS guide. We launched this last year for the first time, and the response was just overwhelming. Instead of getting 7 flyers, all those good things, everything about TOPS is so we distribute these. These are the 2 most distributed things that we have as far as publications are.
You distribute, tell me where you distribute.
Oh, certainly. Every morale session that we go to, for those, anytime someone has us go to event or something, they get this. If it's TOPS oriented, they bring the TOPS guides as well. But any event that we have, they get this. We also want to make sure we are option saving programs as well. So any and everything that LOSFA does, all of our scholarship grant programs, the main services that we offer, resources that are available, all of that is available to them. And this brochure just comes right along.
I'll give you an example. We just had a college fair on the 3rd. And so Jacob brought all of them and gave it out to us students then. But then he sent me an email, and I think it's electronic too.
Okay.
So then like it can be shared that way as well. But these are PDF as well. Yes.
We also have versions that are black and white, grayscale, black and white.
And I appreciate that.
So they can select for it.
I just, as one of the older people here at the table, I still appreciate these kinds of things that I can take with me, that I don't have to do online, because the online just sort of sucks us all in another world. And this is great.
We've also found that this is helpful for new team members at LOSFA. And sort of a quick brief orientation as to what it is LOSFA does. All you have to do is look at this is others majority of the. So
People say, well, just go to here, you'll see all this information here, but by the time I get home, or maybe even to my car, which today is parked out in the sunshine because the lock's off.
Right. But she's not bitter, right?
And then you've forgotten where you're supposed to go. And then, I like it, thank you very much.
So, but all of the outreach events that I shared information about, these are at all times. So
They're very, I just think it's another way, sometimes the old tools were better than the new ones.
And I have to say thank you because this was like one of the things that I asked Shane for, so often it was PDFs, I wanted one pagers, but then he just took it and made these, which are like bigger than what I could have imagined, because like you said, it's really hard to send somebody there, or if you send an email, they don't check it, but if they put it in their hands when they're in front of you, like, they will have it and they will go back and look at it. I'll have it sitting on my desk, students will come in and pick it up and look at it all the time. So it's very, very helpful, it's colorful, it hits everything that the students.
We've also been really busy on making upgrades to our website, looking at web access board across the top. Okay, what are people looking for when they come to our website? We need to make it a lot easier to find. TOPS information, there's usually a specific thing about TOPS to go with. So we can make that available as well. So we follow through, we updated that, made finding our 529 safety programs much easier on the website as well. You said dig for it. It's right there at the top. But it's much easier for students, parents, counselors, and even our team members to go and access information about TOPS now, the layout that we need. So we completely updated the layout of TOPS page. So we've gone through many things they're looking for, documents or resources up at the top, eligibility requirements, the different levels that we have. We separated PhD and TOPS Tech to make TOPS Tech easier to find, just looking at that information. And they've really updated the layout. Yes, we still have some things that we want to do, but it's a lot more mobile friendly, and it's a lot easier to navigate and find exactly what you're looking for.
Before you go on, I want to talk about this too, because there's so many different requirements based on that. And like when I went to this website recently, because I'm trying to do my grade level presentations, and each one of those is different, it was so much easier to find it right here. Thank you, because that breakdown, I was like, all right, here's this. Because y'all go by grad years and I gotta go by cohort, so I have to do the figuring out, but it was already lined out like that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. TOPS links. So the different core used to be individually PDF under TOPS links. Now there is a TOPS core page. Click that, all of the core. And just pick the one based on your graduation year, whether it's PhD or whether it's TOPS 10. So all of that is a lot easier to find, as well as information on securing your TOPS and keeping your TOPS once you're in college as well. And the award amounts, we've been really intentional with how we explain those, and the amounts a whole lot clearer as well. So we spent a lot of time on changing language and just kind of streamline things to make it as accessible as possible. It's a lot of feedback that we've gotten from counselors as well as parents, you know, have to click 3 times to find this.
Staff, yes.
And staff.
This body, so we really do appreciate the
Because before you had to go to students and parents, you had to go down, you had to get scholarships and grants. And then you had to find TOPS, and then you had to scroll through stuff to find, no. TOPS is right there. You can get to the TOPS page multiple ways. So we just want to make that as easy as possible. We've also updated our scholarship and grants page, so we had that laid out before. It used to just be boxes of text, and that's it. We've added imagery to sort of better visually identify what the programs were, given very succinct information, a description about what it is, and then a direct link for them to be able to access that. We've updated our contact us page, make that a little bit easier to navigate, and our counselor's corner, completely redesigned counselor's corner, and announced that in articulation as well. To make that easier for our counselors to access, but also, so it's really just these boxes and these drop downs. So there's no need for them to have to dig for what they need. It's all accessible right there, all the stuff. Okay, oh, and then a couple of video highlights. So these are things that our team recently worked on that I just wanted to share. First is a testimonial video that we did with an adult learner who's a participant in our student network.
My name is Red Martin, and I am an elderly, and I'm currently pursuing an associate degree in nursing, and I already have an associate degree in general studies. The support that LOSFA provided me was an advisor, Charnel had me. Her support is, talking to me when situations arise, calling her when, I had a emergency, a healthcare emergency. Had to go to the emergency room, and I couldn't take my finals down. And I felt like I wanted to just give up, but she was able to connect me with some of the people that's in the office. I experienced tragedy in 2019, just calling Miss Chanel, and I told her about what happened and how I was trying to get back on track with my life, trying to finish nursing. Due to that situation, I could not function. Ms. Chanel helped me by getting in touch with the dean of nursing, just telling her my situation. She continued to be my advisor, let me know that I'm investing in your career and I want to see get to the finish line. Now I'm just gonna be there. So that alone is more than money can buy. I would say to other students and families in Louisiana to think about what it is that you really want to do. Try to find the right person that, you can talk to. If it's something that you really want to do, I would say pursue it. Don't stop until you get it done. Not all students get financial aid, and some students, whether they get financial aid or not, they may just need somebody to talk to, somebody who can guide them. And I feel like sometimes students need that person, just one person that they can go to be able to talk to, and that help them, get them back on track.
And then, this is Junior next.
My name is.
There it is. What's that movie thing? Thanks.
Today's event is when LPA was in the even though this is a junior match day, this group of students, they're going right into their senior year. Junior match day is a pilot initiative by the ACC Center for Impact. It is specifically for high school juniors, so they can start researching colleges, so that way they are prepared for their senior year. So we started out with a presentation where or more of a workshop where we do a hands-on experience with the students to go through their interest and skills assessment to get matched to some different careers. We walk them through going through the different websites of the colleges so that they can find the information they need, such as tuition, financial aid, scholarships, housing, all of those things. So where to look. And then of course we end with some games. One game we played today was Jeopardy, but it was the Meet Your Match version of Jeopardy. So we call it Money Madness. So the topics for the questions were related to things like financial aid, careers, social and emotional match, all things that are for going to college. So here at LOSFA, we will be more than happy to help students in whatever way they need, whether that's scholarship searches, identifying majors, identifying careers, to get them on the right path.
Okay, a couple media mentions. We fight this every year, Louisiana offering free college. No. So we know to expect that every May. Application from Jake Foster Promise, free college. And so for the course of the legislative session, there were of course articles about tops and changes to those. This one in particular was about changes that impacted study students. And then the addition of excellence as well. And then also the bar kind of like 9 STAR plans. So luckily that was able to be picked up as well. So very thankful for those. Social media metrics, between August 1st and the end of August. We were at over 900,000 total views, 318,000 total reach and engagement. These are so skewed because now you have to pay time you want to get accurate numbers. But reach and views that gives you a pretty good indication of where you are, who's seeing your stuff and how. Our top performing posts, Able Savings Day, Able Savings Day, our tops notice, in the FAFSA support. So we've also done some paid advertising as well for FAFSA support, that also included some bulk emails that we sent out as well, geared towards those students who have not filled out the FAFSA, but they still have time to do it at the start of the semester. And then another push, letting us know that the upcoming FAFSA is about to vote, what they need to do for prepare for that. We did that last year and saw a lot of success with that. The email campaign that we did was the highest open rate of any email campaign that they had done before. So people got the email, they opened it, they went through, and they actually clicked on where they needed to go and more fast or get more fast information. Here's where we stand with our social media followers right now across our platforms. Our website traffic for the course of August, over 168,000 total page views, 48,000 total users. Top referral is coming from Google and our paid advertising that has driven a lot of people to our page as well. So we're very, very thankful for that. So any questions about any of those 40 slides? Yeah, and it'll take not very much. Oh, my throat hurts. That needs to be definitely done by 2 days. All right, thank you so much. Thank you.
Good morning. Maybe a little bit more information on the program since we have a new member, Mr. Sean, that's here today. Next slide. So Louisiana Go Grant funding, we have started making this work for the 25-26 year. Our allocation remains at 70.4 million, which is the third year in a row level funding. We had 2 schools that processed this past Friday for $224,000. We do expect we have seen a large number of schools who submitted their payment requests. So probably going to be a couple of million this week. The deadline for the fall is November 24th. So we set up some new procedures where we'll be notifying the schools if we don't get payments in around that period. Our John Hart Justice update. John Hart Justice is for attorneys who work as public defenders and prosecutors. So our new award is $66,000. Is divided equally. We have 10 prosecutors that share $33,000 and then 5 public defenders because those are usually lower paid jobs than prosecutors for $600. So we've made 2 of these 2 awards. We are working on the others. We do have up until next year when the federal cycle runs. We have until September of 2026 to make those awards, but we'll probably have them all done by the beginning of next year. It just takes a while sometimes to get them to turn in their paperwork because the public defender's offices, you hear the news, they're overwhelmed and overworked and understaffed. Next slide. I'm going to talk about OU Challenge and let Devin end with MJ Foster. So our OU Challenge program is for students who have graduated from the National Award U Challenge program, which is students in ages 15 to 17 years old. Once they graduate from OU Challenge, they're eligible to receive a grant to attend a 2 or 4 year school for up to 2 years, as long as the student is majoring in an area that leads to a 3, 4, or 5-star job. So our allocation for that program, $50,000 was allocated last year, and the funding is meant to be spent down. So we used about 13,000 last year, so we already started with this year. We'll make 2 awards for $3,214 for current year for their, they graduated at various times. There are 3 centers with Cody Challenge. One is in Farville, there's one in Minden, and one in Pineville. So they're on different cycles, so we'll probably get more students in January, and the word is out that there's more funding, so that's that program.
Hello, so I have a couple of updated numbers as far as applications, I have data as of yesterday, 9/16. So we have 10,211 total applicants. 2,272 of them are renewal eligible, 5,783 are eligible, which would be new students applying first time for the program. We have 1,869 ineligible. Of those, 342 were ineligible due to income. And then our cancellation number has actually gone down to 280 that are either canceled or were fulfilled. 176 are canceled, and then 104 have award fulfilled, and that is solely from them reaching the maximum. I also have some funding numbers. As of last week, 9/11, our processing date, we have used $3,241,213.76. Currently, we do have schools pre-billing through October 31st, and of our total funds will be those pre-bills that we are waiting for the census date to come. We're waiting on those start dates to come. $6,830,682.80 is currently spoken for.
So is that's total with including the pre-bill?
Yes, and that's total, that's what has been processed, what we have in the pipeline pending their census date. And that also what we have set to process for tomorrow. And then set to be processed tomorrow is 2.7 million.
So by October 31st, we're at about 6 million.
You could be out of money by October. Or sooner, because again, they're just starting right now, so that's why we are accepting the pre-billings in phases, in blocks. Because we don't want to get into a situation where people think that there's going to be money for spring, that unless something drastically changes with these trends, there's not. And there is no cavalry coming this year. If you remember last year, we had money left over from year 1, they had to recognize the GA that that's very little, under 70.
It's 100,000.
100,000, which is not going to, last year was 7.3 million. Right, and so we will do the budget presentation. That is one of the things that will be included, but know that policymakers, Board of Regents, Governor's Office, House and Senate staff get these reports as soon as Devin sends them to me. I send them to them. We change them and very much simplify them so that we want that to jump out. It's like, this is how much money is available. This is where we are, and we are not to the November billings yet.
I look at our office, look the pre-bill, and we really see
Yes.
what is actually being spent.
That's right.
So our.
Okay, well, we're glad. We've been trying to work it and work it again, make it clear so that people don't have, and students don't have an expectation that it's going to be there, and we know the chances of that are slim.
You're able to match the expectation.
Yes, thank you. We are trying.
That's all I have for my.
Okay, TOPS update, I would say that at this particular point in time, I wouldn't get really excited about that, that negative 16.34, because of the fact that those 14 class days are just rolling in. And as you can see what just happened, and the census dates come in. So I think you're going to have a much better perspective of that the next time as to where we are.
Is there a way to dig into digging super like on that for like LCTCS? Is it more on the opportunity side, is it more on the tech side?
Yes, we have, right now, we will have. When we compile the numbers, there's on our dashboard, as those payments come in. You will be able to see that on the dashboard on the website 24/7. So you can go in and see, because excellence, I think, was the last time I checked it, I think it was around 1,500 students that have been awarded excellence, because that's a question we're getting a lot, like how many students now. That doesn't mean that those students accepted it. That's what we're going to be waiting for, because recall excellence is, meant to be more competitive. But when you think realistically, excellence was signed or passed legislatively in June. Think about when high school seniors are going to get their letters offering them financial aid packages. As you well know, it is significantly earlier than June. So the jury will still be out as to whether that made those students do an about face and say, oh, no, I'm not going out of state, I'm staying. Or whether we will see that next year with this class of graduates, now that they know about excellence and they know that it pretty much will cover the tuition and fees at most institutions. It's coming very
Question. Do y'all have any preliminary numbers or idea of the number of students that are looking to pursue CLT as a pathway to TOPS?
Yes, so far we've had one score that we received, and that might have changed, but the last time I checked it, because I got this question last week, we had one. Here's a wrinkle that even, this business is, you're never bored. Right?
Right.
If these changes come up, we had a student, unfortunately, that we couldn't help. If we could have, he would have been here, parent would have been here today, did not qualify for TOPS using the ACT. Had an exceptionality that wasn't determined until the end of July. He was still testing to realize above average intelligence, but cognition was slower, needed extra time, never got it. When I tell you I was on the edge, like, Robin, is there anything that we can do? So technically, had that student had time, right, when they called us, it was like the day to register for the CLT was really past. The CLT is tomorrow. If I thought he could have gotten in, I would have told him to do that now, but here's where I'm going with the wrinkle. Only one school post-secondary in the state of Louisiana that we can see accepts the CLT for admissions, and that's Louisiana Christian University. So to think about that, this student is already admitted somewhere, right? Probably on GPA. So they could have gotten admitted to a 4-year on GPA, or dual enrollment, as you know, that policy allows. And they figure out they have TOPS 10. And there's nothing at that 4-year that they can major in. You hear this story every year. Okay, but since that student's already admitted, what if that student would have been able to take the CLT and all of a sudden qualify for TOPS? So that aha moment, that was this, people were like, whoa. So the jury's still out as to whether parents and students are going to think about that option. I'm going to get admitted on one thing, and then if I don't qualify for TOPS, I'm going to take this test, and because there's nothing that says that it has to be the same.
Yep. And the reason I asked, so Cindy Wells sent me something yesterday. So CLT is apparently now promoting.
Oh,
Excel
yeah,
as
every
a-
big billboard on College Drive.
Yeah, and so they had a social media post she sent me, and she's like, heads up, like.
Yes, they are.
promoting this. And so the more broadly
Exactly.
promoted, see going.
What is the score that they have to have for TOPS?
It is, you have to look at the concordant chart.
It's in the chart, it's in the information. On those numbers, that's
There's
all.
more scores on the CL, it isn't a one-to-one.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
more scores on CLT than there are on ACT, and Regis developed a crosswalk.
I mean, we were waiting on that, that's what I was, it has been determined.
It's there. So yes, a lot of these things will affect our projections at, the homeschool level excellence, but it's just right now. You gotta wait and see what student behavior is going to be.
Well, and from a communication standpoint as well, I have concerns about their promotion of it because homeschool students are explicitly excluded from CLT.
No, they're not.
They are not.
They're not.
Y'all heard about that? Okay, I was
We
gonna
resolved that issue.
Okay.
And everybody's on the same, we were not on the same page before, you were correct, we were not on the
I was
same
gonna
page.
say, cause that's not.
They are
That's what I was
not
saying.
excluded.
Okay,
They're not
yeah, I talked to our admissions office yesterday and they said, we're not logging the score because we don't accept it. We're not going to until board accepts we have to, so to speak. And so I was curious if y'all have preliminary numbers of kind of your seeding or expecting.
I mean, I'm stupid. Is this a Louisiana only thing or is this a national test? Okay, because I'm just trying to sign in and
She's trying to see what the dates were.
like I'm trying to see what the dates are.
I tried that for the gentleman yesterday while he was on the phone and I'm like, hang on just a minute, and I'm like, okay, okay. Good, because it does make you sign in and register and the like, and I ended up having to walk around to our outreach team to go, have you already got the dates? And Bob have gotten the dates, but it is, you're right, it is a chore to go out and find the dates. Our folks have to kind of work around to find the dates, but certainly, yes, and if we saw something yesterday said that military academies are now going to accept the CLT, so I'm just saying that, as you said, this could be differential, and to your point, even if the admission standards don't change, that student yesterday pointed out the scenario that, well, I can get admitted. And on this, and then I can come and CLT and say, hey, I want you to reconsider that DOS. So it's a lot of both.
It's interesting to watch.
You're talking about I'm sorry, CLT. So I have a list of dates I can send you in a PDF, but the thing is that students can take that test and it'd be like a proctored test. So like they can register and take it from anywhere, like once a month, but then they have other test dates that are available through if the school wanted to give it or is given somewhere else. And I do have a PDF of that. I can send it to you.
Is that the price of it too?
It's around the same, maybe $2 difference or so. We compared that earlier, unless that changed, because during session we're looking at, is there a significant difference in the price?
There was a school, when I lived in Birmingham, there was a school that was a CLT learning school, so that's why I was familiar with it, but from the training, so like those students that's their curriculum. So then now it's where I realize it's breaking out, going everywhere, but it was not something that I was familiar with, except for that one person that I knew that went to that school that had to take that test. So it's a new world.
And we will ask, Ronald will ask Jane and put it in the counselor's form. If it's not there already, we will put it in the counselor's form. If that sense.
Any other questions?
That's really the dark of my it's the update. What we wanted you to see is just the questions. Each year, we have the budget hearing at the Board of Regents, and that is talking about, where we are right now. And they ask us a series of questions. We do not have the presentation finished yet, or you would have it. We generally let you know the questions, and then once we present and give the presentation, we make sure you have a copy of it. This year, and I did not know Shane was gonna do those videos, and that's actually the first time I saw them. I'm like, dude, you've been holding out on me. But I have a very different conversation about the presentation. But in the budget presentation, instead of doing a PowerPoint this year, we are actually doing a video that encompasses the totality of what LOSFA does, the statistics about our reach, how many students we reach, how many outreach events. So you're looking at, a year in review for that. And instead of doing, I'm so glad you said what you said, Ms. Cohen, the PowerPoint, and as we watch them, they have a binder that I swear to you looks this thick with all, they don't take that home and look at that. I don't think they do. We're going to do a booklet.
Yes.
That's not an epistle, something very short and concise that goes over the pertinent answers to these questions, and that if they want to take it with them, it is taken. Right, so that if they have a question or someone else about the LOSFA, right, that these have been very helpful for us with policymakers that are maybe only familiar with LOSFA as in the old days, COPS, and maybe they were familiar with STAR. Oh, we're way past that. Can't see that chip on the short. So this is gonna be our approach this year. So you will definitely, the next meeting will show you that video, and we will put that publication in your hands. So, and that's it.
For Go Grant, is it possible to kind of get a sense of like how other colleges' policies are developed and created? So like at LCTCS, we have an internal audit that we're doing on financial aid, specifically about amounts, like SEOG and Go Grant, and trying to think of like ways to make it more streamlined across our system. Like if I go to BRCC and I go to our business, well, I get different Go Grant amounts.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, and so just to kind of get a sense of what the state is doing, like what other colleges might.
Sure, okay. Shauna said.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if someone.
She was texting me, that's how I know she's.
Thank you.
Some of the private schools, because they're also higher, they do the maximum amount. And then they have few students that are also eligible for grants, so they got, so their allocation by six the maximum amount. And some of the schools feel that there's no real difference between going half-time and full-time, so all their students get the same amount.
So
So,
right now, we have the differences in the whole part of the program, and then we have some who award the most amount to smaller number of students, and then we've got smaller amounts to the most amount of students. We're just trying to kind of get a sense of what that variance is. And so that we can kind of drive it from a policy standpoint, yes. To be like, maybe we need to be a little more consistent in the way that we award some.
I'm gonna get with Devin, Laura, and it's what'd she say, $69? $69 to take with the CLT. Yeah, she don't do that, so.
we have off house, charter school. So that's how we look at the chart, what the schools do as far as the award amount studies.
You look at number of students that we're able to reach with our years, number of others, and seeing what percentage we're at. And then we look at, okay, if we shifted it to this, how many more students reach, but how much less of need are we getting from students? Is it enough that it would benefit to hit more students with that higher dollar amount? Or can we stay at 85%, award rate with a higher dollar amount to make sure we're getting a higher target need to move the needle for those students to impact their performance? Then that's what we, and from that, we tier it based off a half-time amount, full-time amount, and then that's it.
And I think for us too, we tend to award after enrollment, and so. Like, should we be awarding before to try to drive enrollment? Because if we're just trying to rethink our financial aid model. It's like, yes, everybody's gonna be able to get Pell loans, but how can I strategically use like work study, SCG, Go Grant for those students who haven't enrolled yet and being enrolled?
And some schools even have three amounts, they have an amount for halftime, 6 hours, and then 11 hours, different amount, and then full time is another amount. So it just depends on, I think, their population, number of students that are eligible, And then sometimes, you know, even the less than 1,500, are you really helping?
Yeah.
With that small amount of money, so it's just various reasons why, but we have that.
This is a shift from that, but I wanna talk about, Dr. Cable and I were emailing like the last 2 weeks, because I was looking at the new school score, and we talk about TOPS tech, and I wanted to do a presentation to my teachers about certifications, industry-based credentials, and how that ties together for our students who've been on. Well, I was looking for the updates for the IBC matrix for, it takes the Louisiana Workforce Commission, but then they have it for an STS, and so I was looking for that. Well, I came across the LCTCS matrix from like 2019 or something. Now, I remember hearing about this, like where if they earn a certification, they get an, I don't know if I'm using the right language, an equivalency at the college level. And so I sent it to her and I was like, hey, is this updated? And so she sent me a new updated one, says it's continuing being updated. But the connection that I made yesterday, because I presented it to like all the PLCs for my teachers. And as they were listening, because I was telling them, when the student earns this, yes, it helps the school score, but it helps them because this is how they are going to be workforce ready, but then they can take this and have the equivalency. So I just took the certifications we had. It was 12 or 16 equivalency credits that they would have. Then I said, okay, now the TOPS, because I'm trying to get them to understand the work keys. You get work keys right here when you make this score. So you have this 12 to 16, you have this pulled in before they ever fill out the FAFSA, and like their minds were open.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know how to connect all of that, but it's like driving them to go ahead and get it, but to present it to y'all at that level, because they may have the certifications and then don't present them and don't even get the equivalency. But I think that that's a push now. I'm trying to figure out.
So we do have a question on our admissions application that says, do you have an IBC? And so I would maybe encourage your counselors to tell the students if they do earn an IBC in high school to answer that question, yes. And we're trying to get some communication scheduled for that question. So essentially we can say, okay, you do have an IBC, yes, what is it? Send me a copy of it so that we can do articulation for it.
Yeah, this is so brand new for me, but it's.
Why don't, what if we like something with Haley Shank on the counselor side, because that's her coordinator specialty. Then I'm thinking Darius and Charnel on the comprehensive advising side to be able to get with you. And then whatever we come up with that can be put out there on the counselor's corner. But you're gonna need a student and parent version to say to the students and parents, right? If you have this is what it translates to. And then to me, the other thing that ties to that is these universal transfer pathways. So if you are one of those students that took the university core, that is the vast majority of TOPS applicants, they are not in the Jumpstart core, right? They wanted that 20. They didn't get that 20, right? They are at a 4-year or have their decorations picked out. We've had that statement with snacks. They bought their snacks for the room, right? Now, what do? But they have TOPS 10. So it's what advanced credit would you get from your, your credential? And then what universal transfer pathway could you enter in that will get you where you want to go? But if you start at the 2-year, utilize the TOPS 10 award you had, now you're only coming out of pocket largely for 2 out of 4 years. That message does not resonate if they've already moved in the door. That parent is not going to even talk to that student about that. We hear that directly. You think I'm telling my kid that my kid's already there, and of course they picked out snacks and decor, and besides, why does my kid have a 4.0 and can't use their TOPS, and the person in the dorm room with them has a 3 point something and got TOPS opportunity? We said it, right? It didn't get legislatively moved, but we said it. So it is what it is. So if we can do that on the front end with counselors and advisors, I think you will get a better yield. And on all the data we're looking at right now, a great deal of the data that we're looking at right now nationally says that students are more interested in certificate and credential programs because many of them have seen the negative effects of loan debt and don't want to enter into that. So they would want to finish quickly, go into the workforce quickly and get a check. Right? So we're seeing that. So I think it's time. But if we put our heads together, our teams with your team, and then put a strategy together to go, okay, where do you need us to put that? And how can we incorporate that into our outreach? We can say, and Kayla can turn just about anything into fun. That is a special talent that she has, and you see that kid's face on the video, that says it all, that to engage them. So certainly, we just put our heads together and I think we can get this done. In fact, I know we can.
I think it's critical too for like dual enrollment, like because we don't see, you know, a matriculation from like our hub or from dual enrollment to our institutions. And so trying to figure out how I can say, like, okay, you're in dual enrollment right now, getting these IDCs potentially. And you can come to river parishes with any TOPS amount for that matter. And be in a universal pathway, it's really about being able to show them path. That you can start in high school, go to a 2-year, and then go, you can still go to a 4-year.
Yes.
You can still go. It's just that either you're using TOPS tech for those 2 years, and then you're saving that loan money that you took out for that 4-year for the next 2 years. You know, or you're using your TOPS opportunity. And so it's really about the savings piece of it, right? Because if I can save my loan money for the last 2 years instead of taking it out and starting out a career, because we know that are paying out of pocket to go to a 4-year, even if they're eligible for TOPS tech. So they're bypassing funding.
Yeah.
So figuring out a way to help make that connection, especially with the IDC.
And that's in the pathways that we're developing. So if you all just, we know that you'll be the point person. And if you let us know who will be the point person from LCTCS. Bear Catherine, if you want to have somebody that's a point person to because again, it's a path, regardless of which one you go to, you can still use that award, right? And how do you want to get there? You don't have the universal transfer pathways, but if there is anything that you can take and go, then our job is to be fair, right? And present a balanced approach, so your mileage may vary. Right, it's here, it's here, it's here, not to tell them which way to do that, but we need to be fair to everybody, and particularly like programs like Southern, where you have that, what is it, you got Southern in Southern in Shreveport, that student looks just like their 4-year at Southern in Baton Rouge. I think they can. You look like a Jaguar, you're on the campus with the Jaguar, but that is like, yeah, because that solves the issue for the student that 4-year it is, and that's where I've decided I want to be, and we are not. In the majority of the case, you are not going to dissuade that student once they get to that point. You're certainly not going to dissuade that parent, so we just need to start earlier and put our heads together, but certainly this is true.
Yeah, because I mean, you're talking about the dual enrollment. Here's the thing, these students are getting into before the 9th grade. They're starting on their level ones and so before they're even juniors to be able to go take dual enrollment, and they're taking the dual enrollment like from our independent college and career, they're North Shore, so they're there, so it's already happening, but it's not connecting them. And so like that, I'm willing to offer whatever I can to whoever I can to try to tie it together, because like you said, those that are going to 4-year, they're going to 4-year, but those that may not be able to do that right away, like those are the ones that need this.
Yes, and as Amy said, those are the 80% roughly of students that are turning down TOPS tech money and paying on their own to, but that is, just think about the market, the untapped market that is in post-secondary. Says, we're struggling with enrollment. Yeah. Right, so this is definitely a huge market that's untapped, and you know, contrary to popular belief, there is no TOPS tech allocation in TOPS. That does not exist. There's no TOPS tech early start allocation in TOPS. there's a TOPS pot of funding. All y'all are in it. Right, so it isn't that you're dealing with that, so as if that 80% that didn't take the award starts to decrease, then we've got to be able to show that to say, okay, projections, you are going to need more funding. So you can see that that is one of the questions. Are they going to continue not to accept it? The majority of what's driving the continue not to accept it is your higher kids, the honors, and that's a smaller percentage. The biggest one out of the total pie is COMSTAT.
Well, and it also is on the point of students doing themselves in service by that athlete.
Yes.
So regardless of institution I've been at, I've seen a number of students who would have been better served starting at 2-year because they weren't maybe not ready for whatever that was at 4-year. They go to the 4-year, completely have a struggle that first year, lose eligibility, and then they fall out. And so they transfer to institution, but their eligibility is now suspended, canceled, number of issues. Whereas had they started in that 2-year pathway and had an on-ramp time frame, then they might have been a lot more successful in persistence and recruit. So.
To old business. So the old business is related to final rulemaking for the 2024 start interest rates. So we need a motion to approve that the LOSFA advisory board consider rulemaking, to consider final rulemaking to amend section 315 to add the applicable interest rates for the start savings program for the 2024 calendar. You have a motion to approve.
Motion.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. And we have new business. So our new business is one, it's about the start saving, the start program administrative rules. So that the LOSFA advisory board consider rulemaking to amend section 107 of the start program administrative rules, section 707, 709, and 715 of the start K-12 program rules, and section 507 of the Able Account Program rules to implement provisions of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2020.
There were lots of changes in the APA, which is what they are abbreviating it as online. The majority of these changes were effective the day after the bill was signed on July 9th. So for the first time in many years, we are going to try to do emergency rulemaking. So that the parents and the account students are able to take advantage of all of these. It vastly expands the use of START funds for so many different things, including the, let's see, tuition, books, fees, supplies, etc. Fees for testing, if testing is required to obtain or maintain a post-secondary credential. Fees for continuing education, which means, for me, for example, it would pay for my continuing legal education if I had a START account, which that has never been a thing. You graduate from post-secondary with whatever degree you have, that's it. It would pay my board dues, which that has never happened. So that is a big expansion for START. For START K-12, curriculum and curriculum materials, books, other instructional materials. Previously, this was just tuition. Period. It has expanded for tutoring, for online education. There are some limitations in there, which was in the proposal. And if y'all have any specific questions about what can and cannot be covered, I will be happy to answer those, but I don't want to go through the whole list. Also, the amount that can be used for K-12 is expanded to $20,000 starting next year. That is also an actual. And then, as far as the ABLE program rulemaking, there was a provision in ABLE that was set to expire under federal law on December 31st. That was continued. If the end date for it was taken out of the law in the one big bill. So those are all the changes.
I remember there was a proposal, but I don't know if it ever made the law. Was there not also a provision there related to expanding the use of it to certain technical education programs that weren't previously eligible, like truck driving training?
Yes.
They call it out specifically.
That is in there as well.
I don't know if it ever passed that.
Yes, it definitely passed. It provides definitions for what they call recognized post-secondary credentials and recognized post-secondary credential programs. Those programs are going to be defined by LWC for WIOA. Some of them will be in WINGS, that database, which is for type things. I'm not familiar with that database, so I can't really explain to you what that is. But I know that's what's in law, and that is now what's in banking. We will be doing some research. We have not yet had him ask these questions of us, but we will be doing some research. Not only so that if people ask us, we know, is this covered or not? But if they ask, I don't want to go to school, what else could I use it for? To provide, be able to provide that to CAST, for answering phone calls and for the staff when they get those calls. My kid's not going to college. They want to go to this apprenticeship, or they want to be a truck driver and do this. I have all this money for them. What can I do with it?
Right.
So, yeah, we're gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm listening to you, I'm like, all these things, it's expanding, but like, that's trying to keep up.
See why we're gonna need the customer service.
Yeah, exactly.
While we realistically think it could go beyond $2 billion.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Much faster than most folks think, and it's like, if you got what, I think they got 11 people back
Yeah.
there. That's, yeah.
The additional staff, but for this down, we need a whole other staff.
Because you got all those changes on the other side that calls to the IAOs to answer questions. It's just, it's like, no, that we just can't keep stretching that same program.
Yeah. So, any other questions about the AWA?
Motion to approve. Christine, second. All in favor, say aye. Yes. She is. All right, the second. The TOPS home study exceptions. Consider the attached request for exception to TOPS statutory provision that requires a student to be in a home study program no later than the conclusion of grade. If there are no recommendations for denial for these. So any questions about the study exceptions? A motion to approve.
I'll motion to approve.
A second.
Any nays? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Guys, you do those one, right? Use it all, not do it. All right, and our last is the TOPS and infant foster promise exceptions. So this is to consider the attached request for exception to the TOPS regulatory provisions that require students to remain continuously enrolled and to earn the annual credit hours required during the academic year, and to the MJ foster requirement that a student maintain continuous enrollment in school. Any questions about these?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I got a question about Seth.
Okay.
This is a person whose award was canceled. I'm trying to figure out what we're saying, but he was enrolled in a religious ministry training program in a non-accredited school. Then we get a letter saying, yeah, he was at the school when he did this, so. If I'm not saying, because I know if we prove this, then it's just, we're giving him an exception, but does that have any way, does it in any way affect his enrollment? What the school may get, the non-accredited school for religious training?
What that school may get, may receive.
Well, I don't know, I mean,
That's, will not receive any.
that's right, but you look at some of these other cases where they're requesting exceptions, it's because they have had very unique, sometimes tragic consequences, and I'm just trying to figure out what was going on here with Seth.
So we have had a number of students to do this. And in a lot of cases, the school that they are attending, the accredited school in Louisiana, will write them an exceptional educational opportunity letter, stating that this will benefit their student in their future and in their future career. This college would not do that, but they would write a letter stating that, you know, the student was pursuing all of this. Had we gotten a letter from the dean of the school stating that this would benefit him, it would never have come to this committee.
This is the same board that the Disney internships are in. If Mr. Inman, had you been not at JP Morgan Chase in the summer, let's say that you wanted to do that in the spring, right? And that means, according to LOSFA, you don't see you enroll. So you're in lose your jobs unless your dean says, no, this is directly related, and so you don't see those because it's cut and dry. In this case, this student couldn't get that, but was doing the same type of thing. It's just a different category from the very tragic ones or.
Yeah, I'm just a little. So he submitted this to the institution where he originally received his jobs.
If the dean, if I'm understanding, right,
If the dean of the
somebody would have
that
said,
is enrolled says this is okay, and it was for.
Something related to his.
Right, then the school just continues this. So theoretically, the dean could say, yes, this year that you took off to sail around the world and attend.
Yes.
Race car races, and okay.
I mean,
is that-
and I can give you some examples of others that we've had. We had a young lady who was Miss Louisiana. And the dean of her program said that being Miss Louisiana was related to her particular program of study. Y'all did not see that one because we had the required documentation.
But in this instance, we don't have a requirement, but
It has
it meets the criteria.
It fits exceptional circumstances and it doesn't meet the criteria for the exceptional educational opportunity because we don't have the letter.
So is he currently gonna go to an accredited institution?
Yeah, the only reason that he would need to fill this out is that he's coming back to school, to an accredited school.
Yeah, just making.
He did something else instead of being enrolled.
Right.
Right?
So it's not like where they started at a
No,
accredited,
right.
it's been accredited, that's where the that's
You're not paying that school, no, you're not be paying that school, that's just the provider of the experience.
yes.
We had your internship at BC or something like that.
Yes, the same, it's the same.
Same.
Right.
Yeah, but we have had those students that went to an unaccredited and then tried to get to an accredited, that's not the same
That's not-
business.
And then one more quick question, you probably, some of you already, when they've been enrolled and then they come to the end of the semester and their work has been canceled, when does the student How does that work on the student fee? Why is it the fee bill? Did they get it? Are they attending and then they discovered that their TOPS was taken away?
It depends on the school. So several things.
Because we had a lot here whose award, many awards were not canceled, and I'm trying to figure out, does the school not say you got a problem?
So we do send out notifications. Your award is canceled because you didn't do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You didn't enroll, you didn't earn 24 hours, you didn't enroll in full time in the spring, whatever. Sometimes the school will put, if the student has a TOPS award, they will put a credit on the student's fee bill for many, many semesters when they are not eligible. Those, even though the student has been canceled, they had no reason to pay any attention to that because their school is showing a credit, and for many semesters in a row, they think they're getting their award paid until they get a bill for $15,000. At which point they're like, but I got all this proof that they told me I had it.
We'll throw something in there. Throw something in there. There are scenarios where the institution does not get an updated disposition status for students who did not enroll for multiple semesters. So the student did not get billed for fall. There's no updated disposition status pushed to the school saying they're in a canceled status. So the school is operating off the most recent data that we have for y'all, presuming the student's eligible, and then when we sent the bill file, that's when it got processed that the student was canceled due to not continuous enrollment. For example, we have a student that occurred for in February, but the last disposition that we got said the student was eligible going into the fall.
But that was one semester.
Right.
That was not 2 academic years later.
Right, but I'm thinking if it's not continuous full-time enrollment, by the billing deadline for that particular semester, if you have to bill for that student, would there not be a process to look for those, potentially flip their status and push them up into disposition, so that way we have,
Well,
you know what I mean?
there's difficulties with that.
Right,
Because we look for.
because there could be late billing, I mean, there's all kinds of.
Because students can move schools. And we know that some schools go later than others. Students could decide they're gonna go out of state and come back. So that, to the non-continuous enrollment cancellations, you are correct, they are canceled a little bit later to give them time to show up on another school's records. Because in the past, many we would send out those cancellations immediately, and we got lots of angry parents. My kid is not canceled, my kid is in school.
Right, and that's what I was thinking, like the billing deadline, so the billing deadline would be kind of a key point, or at least prior to the beginning of the next term, something saying either risk of potentially canceled or something to let the schools. She might have better examples than I do, this is just something that we ran into, but any.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any specific examples of like disposition status being off, but, you know, when I read those exception forms, I took it as some of the students may be proactive, like before their awards, especially like for nursing. We would probably advise the students, hey, like if you need to reflect any time, you need to do that. So that's before, you know, they're doing that at the beginning, before their awards canceled, or they're doing an educational, exceptional opportunity like an internship. So we advise students to do that. Hey, as soon as you know you're doing that internship, go ahead and do the exemption process. So that may be another reason why students are appealing to before their awards technically. And just speaking at LSU, we would be charging students if they didn't have TOPS, or if their TOPS is canceled, then they would get email notifications from us saying that they owe them money to LSU, whether they always see those emails or not, but they end up.
Right, and we do the same thing, 14 class, they're not full get 8 off their accounts, and they're saying, TOPS canceled.
And they get notices in their hub if they're checking their student hubs when they are getting in trouble. Because there's a TOPS tracker for getting TOPS, but there's also a continuation tracker. Like, hey, And that's where a lot of that comes from with, student could have attended a virtual office hour or sent in something to know, yes, you are in trouble. Right, you're going to be in trouble, and then we do encourage them, if you know you're going to be in trouble, then don't wait until the last minute. So that's why you'll see some of them that, like, the student has not yet been canceled, they know what's coming.
My apologies to all the students that previously thought that they may bear more responsibility and they don't, just slips through, so I apologize to them.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Exactly.
Yes.
We're looking at a very, very small number of exceptions compared to the amount of exceptions that fit like the set criteria automatically, okay?
Yes, last month, we got over 300 exception requests. We broke a record for the month. We are on track to break the record for September.
It's amazing.
Right. When we have a hurricane, because there's a blanket exception. And we're good. And a lot of these are requesting in advance. They're requesting for EPOs for the spring semester. A lot of them are requesting for this fall, so they haven't been canceled yet. A lot of them, to your point, just got a notice from the school saying, you have no tops. And they are freaking out and they will send a form. I need an exception. And that is where Amber Martin comes in and she contacts them and says, I got your form. What happened? And you'd be surprised how many students say, none of your business. And she's like, well, if you want the exception, we need to know. We need to know is what happened, and we need some documentation for that. Your word, we're talking about state money. You can't just say this happened and not provide me documentation that it happened.
Okay, that's like the one that missed the deadline, and we're like, so was there a reason? There's, no, I knew it was coming, I just didn't feel like doing it.
Right.
But they don't apply. Anyway, so.
Not, and 4 legislative phone calls later, you're just like, that's not a reason for going to. You basically messed up and said, I just didn't feel like doing it. Right, but now I want an exception because I got that bill. It's like, doesn't work like that, so.
I will table for the hurricane exception, though, it's only though for the parishes that are very flared down in that area. For the students, if there's a school in that area, like Hurricane Ida, Southeastern was in that. So, but if they could have lived in Lake Charles, but been attending at Southeastern, so that they would have been accepted. But if a student, let's just say, was affected and they were in St. Landry Parish for that hurricane, but they were affected by it, then they would file a natural disaster because they're not in that blanket exception.
Any other questions? All right, the one, I was looking
And it will be in the next. Okay.
I'll just double check it because.
We talked about it this morning, we had already done our process for this meeting, so.
All right, so, that the advisory board consider the attached request for exception to the TOPS regulatory provisions. Already read this, but I'm gonna just keep on going. That require students who remain continuously enrolled and to earn the annual credit hours required during the academic year and to the foster student routine continuous enrollment in school. May I have a motion to approve? We got a second and a second by Lindsay. Any nays? All right, motion carries. So all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Any nays, I think, and then motion carries. We got it. We're approved. All right. Any other business? Go ahead, Brad.
Do you mind clarifying the CLT for, said you're gonna get on that later for the sports students?
Yes. So. The way the law was structured, that said, that we interpreted to say CLT was not available for home study students. We went back and we dissected that provision. 4 of us dissected all of it. And yeah, they can qualify with the CLT. It was a matter of, this bill said, this is what's going into effect. This bill said, this is what's going into effect. But if this passes, then this part doesn't go into effect in this bill. And so when it finally got mapped over, it showed. It is, anybody can take this.
And I request either an email or something go out, to clarify that with the institution, because in the top bulletin that was issued, it explicitly says students graduation. from home study program. Did you?
Yeah, I think we did.
I haven't seen it.
So I was pretty sure we reissued.
We'll send you that.
I'll
Okay.
I'll resend it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was the first thing we were like, we gotta reissue.
Yeah.
But like, Sadie was asking about it.
Yeah.
Well, she did that, so I was like, okay.
No, like you brought it up, we'll do that.
No.
I'll pass those.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that everybody's operating on that same page.
You do not.
I said, I
So this call for the tops, and right now there's only one university in the state that is accepted that for admissions. Is there any talk of other colleges or universities, or is it just for the tops? Yes, sir, but I didn't know if anybody had said anything, like, no, it's okay,
no, like,
it's right now.
basically the way that we are doing it and the way that our admissions team just made it clear to me yesterday is that unless the board of regents specifies that we're gonna accept it, then
Okay, yeah.
we're not even logging the data, so to speak, because we have no use for it in our system, we don't hold data that we have no use for. And so if the board of regents mandates that, yes, we'll start accepting it, but we have no intention to do it.
Okay, that's helpful, I'm gonna get those questions.
Okay.
And I didn't know there, and I hadn't heard anything. Other than the one that, and I've heard that one multiple times, so.
You know, and I'm assuming at some point the board system's gonna have an updated field for that, or is it just gonna translate over to the ACT value?
It's
No?
the way the law reads, it reads an equivalent recorded value on the MCT, so it will be converted.
Whatever it's converted, so we want to know if it's.
Conversion table, that look at.
Sweet.
Questions, if not, our next meeting is October 29th, 2025. And have a motion to adjourn, Brad, and I see the. Oh, actually, Jamie. Jamie, we'll take Jamie this time. All in favor, say aye.
Alright, guys. Outside y'all have,